Hi guys, it's Mouse. Today I'm going to show you how to dye polyester. Okay, so first things first, you need your materials. I am dyeing 100% polyester. This is cut weird because it's a pattern, but it is air waffle mesh. They make this only in white and black, which is why I'm dyeing it. I want it to be kind of a silver gray. I don't really know how that's gonna work, but we're gonna find out. This is my pattern. It's gonna go like this, basically. It's the side paneling. It's also on my calves and a little bit on the shoes. It's for Kasumi Goto. I looked at a bunch of different meshes. I didn't really like a lot of them. I like the texture of this one. I think it's gonna work really nice, and it's kind of soft. Hopefully it dyes. I know polyester is notoriously a pain in the ass to dye, so we are going to give it a shot. The next thing you need is your dye. I'm using iDye Poly in silver gray, and I got this from Dharma Trading. I think that's it. I'll put the link in the description. This is Jacquard brand. I believe you may be able to get it at Michael's or a craft store. I don't know. I just got it online. But I've ordered from Dharma Trading before and dyed a few things. I dyed my Quistis outfit, which I still haven't finished. But if you've been with me for God knows how long it's been since I started that, I had my white fabric and I dyed it to that really nice coral color that her outfit is, and it worked perfect. So I'm really hoping that this works and goes off without a hitch. What comes in this particular packet is your water-soluble dye packet, and you just drop that in, and your color intensifier as well. This comes with both. If you get like a pound of the iDye Poly, you have to buy the intensifier separately. This will dye up to 3 pounds of fabric. I have nowhere near that much fabric, so I probably won't even need the full packet, but I'm gonna put little bits in and see how it goes anyway. Last thing you need is your pot. I have this kind of simmering right now because it's got to be boiling at some point. It's got to be stainless steel. Aluminum won't work. You definitely want to make sure that it's not a pot you're going to use to eat out of, because you cannot use it afterward. So keep in mind, if you need to pull something out of the garage or if you need to go buy something, just make sure you're not going to use it afterward. Yep. Trusty gloves, because this will get all over you if you're not careful. I have towels on the ground in case I drip. I have another pot with a plastic bag in it to put my pieces in once they're finished. And I have my agitator. When I dyed Quistis fabric, I was able to just throw it in the washing machine and it agitated itself, but for this, I have to stir it myself, which sucks. Basically, when I put my stuff in, it's going to need to agitate for regularly for 30 minutes to an hour. I'm thinking I'm probably only going to need the 30 minutes because I only have a handful of pieces of fabric. So I didn't want to dye the whole roll that I got because it's not necessary. I don't really need that much, and so I just cut my pieces out in the patterns I needed, and I'm just going to go for that. I cut them a little bigger just in case I mess up though. Okay, so first things first. Put the gloves on. These are ancient. This is by far the most work I've ever done on any of the costumes I've made so far. It has required more time, energy, know-how. I've developed new skills and techniques. It's just insane. You know, looking at Kasumi, you wouldn't really think she's really all that difficult of a costume, but she's layer upon layer upon layer upon layer, and just all these weird shapes that don't really make sense. So once you dig into that, you're just like, what the BioWare? Okay, so I'm going to drop this into the pot. I don't like it's going to splash in my face. I'll be horribly disfigured for the rest of my life, so I'm just going to... Right. Look at it shriveling. Oh, there it goes. It looks like poop. Look at that liquid dye bath. That's disgusting. So the instructions say to put the dye pack in, put the intensifier in, and then put your garments in and bring it to a boil. I've sort of been letting this come to a boil since it takes forever for water to boil anyway. I think I need a taller spoon. I feel the heat. Next up is our color intensifier. So we're just going to open this up. Just do it a little hot. Drips. Terrible luck with these little packets. Nice clear liquid. Okay, so now we're going to stir that up. Wish me luck. I'm going to dip it. I want to see if it catches fire. Make sure you have enough water in here. You only need to have just enough water so that the fabric can move freely. If you have too much water, the dye will be lessened in effect. The less water, the darker the shade. The more dye you have, the darker the shade. The less dye you have, the lighter the shade, etc. So we're just sticking this in. Make sure the fabric is completely submerged in the water. Agitate. Now, when I dyed my other stuff, it doesn't need a constant agitation for the duration of the time that it's in here, but it does need consistent. It's harder with the stovetop method or even a bucket method to keep it completely agitated as it needs to go. I'm probably just going to leave this in for about 30 minutes. We'll see what happens after that. Okay, so 30 minutes later, I pretty much stirred this thing for the full 30 minutes. I put them in before it was boiling for about 10 minutes. And then went another 30 minutes after boiling. So hopefully I didn't screw that up. This is the color that I got. Looks pretty good. I'm impressed. I probably should have taken it out sooner, but I wasn't sure if I needed to keep it in for at least the 30 minutes. I'm just gonna put these in here. I would highly recommend a glass of water. I was sweating balls, and I don't sweat or have balls, so that tells you something. You can find the time, the energy, the money to do little steps like dyeing your fabric. I highly recommend it. It's such a little step. I mean, I'm doing these tiny little pieces that are barely going to be seen on the costume, but it really pulls it together and gives it that nice detailed look that shows how much effort you actually put into your work. Stuff like this makes me really happy. Okay, so now basically I have to rinse each garment to make sure that any excess dye has been removed. So I'm just gonna do that through the sink here. Looks like it's set in there pretty good. I don't see anything coming off. Now I remember when I dyed my other fabric, it was really dark when it finished because it was still wet. And I was freaking out because it was not the color I wanted. So once this dries, I think it will look about what I want. Right now it's black. Okay, so last but not least, washing time. Hooray. Basically, you're just gonna want to stick them in there, hot water with a little bit of detergent, and this is just going to basically make sure that any excess dye is off and everything that needs to staying, and then we will set them to dry. Okay, so that concludes my tutorial for how to dye polyester. I hope you found it useful. Just to show you some of my results real quick. It's probably not going to show up too well in this video, and it's still a little damp so it's dark. But it's got a really nice gray to it. And that dye stuck really well on it. So the lighting in here sucks. I'll take a picture and post it once it's fully dry, but it has a nice deep gray to it. Oh, it's gonna look so good with my bodysuit. I hope you found this useful. If you liked the video, please subscribe. You can get updates about when I make new tutorials or other shenanigans. Until then, may the force be with you.